HTLA Radio 1, New York.
This program is intended for mature audiences only. If you have any homicidal or suicidal feelings, please consult a doctor before listening to this program.
Well, if you're homicidal or suicidal or any kind of sidal at all, then you shouldn't be here. But if you are here, you're probably not any of the above sidals, and you're ready for some good old-fashioned coffee and cigarettes fun here on HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk. Thank you. Thank you very much. Yes, of course. There you are. Well, we've got a wonderful show for you today. We really do, and it's going to be filled with all kinds of joyous things. Well, okay, maybe not joyous, a little strange, a little crazy. Yeah. Today on the big show, new and improved mommy dearest resorts to, yes, not kidding, beheading babies. Yes, of course. While Facebook nails another murderer, yes, those crime sleuths that they are. Also, the oldest American veteran has died at 108 years old. And, of course, scores more die in the new Shiite mosque bombings. We'll cover that joy. And if that weren't enough, we've also got the ATF director who has resigned his post due to the overwhelming popularity of coffee and cigarettes. There you go. And Obama, yes, there he is again, doing no golfing. Well, he wants the release of U.S. hostages in Iran. Does he not read the memos? And finally today, a group is trying to draft Joe Biden to run in the 2016 because they, quote, can't stand the alternatives. That's right, all that and so much more on today's show, so stay tuned for your coffee and cigarettes. There you go. Welcome to the big Friday Frappacino today on Coffee and Cigarettes, HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk for this Friday the 20th of March 2015. And I'm sad and shocked and appalled and all the rest of it to report 33 degrees in Central Park right now and snowing like there's no spring, which indeed, of course, there is. Apparently, yes, it's spring. Damn it. Hasn't anybody told you? Yeah, well, there you go. So, yeah, accumulation so far about, 5 inches. They said 1 to 3, but of course we've got to, double down on that, right? What are you going to do? Well, my advice would be to come on into the coffee shop, kick off your shoes, relax, cozy up by that fire that we've got here, yes, and just enjoy the show. And, of course, the show is brought to you by, of course, as always, Tim Hortons New York City, now with 8 fine locations in the city to serve all of your coffee and baked goods needs. And also by PreSonus. Yes, the 2442 broadcast mixer we use here is digital and sexy, and it's PreSonus. Find out more at presonus.com. And as always, I've got Jenny McCartney, the one, the only, former social media goddess, I guess now, in the booth, pushing the buttons, making the show go, as it were, for this Friday the 20th. Getting ready to kick off that weekend and go do something. I don't know. I'm just going to be in bed nursing my heart infection. That's what I'm going to be doing. But the rest of you kids get out there and do something fun, like, I don't know, build snowmen or snow angels or slide down hills with snow on them and do all those spring things we like to do on the East Coast, huh? Yeah. Well, speaking of the West Coast, wait, I didn't say anything about the West Coast, did I? No, well, there it is. I said East Coast, which reminded me that on the West Coast right now, we have a man sitting in Mill Bay Studios in beautiful downtown Mill Bay, British Columbia, Canada. He goes by the name of Louis Lawless, and he owns a company called LDL Films. Still 35, 40 years later, still cranking out the latest and greatest in documentary footage stuff. Yeah. Louis, are you there on the satellite link, of course, because we can't say you're on the phone?
It's just life, and I love doing it. I love doing these kind of stories anyway.
Well, it's good. It's good to have you here.
You know how to spell my last name on the check, right? It's Louis Lawless.
I've got that covered. Don't you worry.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
All right. Well, moving on. Second in our lineup is back on the East Coast here. Right here in the city is the one, the only Gilbert Gottfried, coming to us from his beautiful, lavish, spacious, whatever else you want to call it, apartment in Manhattan. Yeah.
What the fuck?
What?
I'm ready.
Okay, good.
Yes.
All right. And also, on his, second last day, yes, there he is, the one, the only George Takei, coming to us for his second Friday farewell. George, thank you for coming back for those 3 days because of that lovely illness. But, today's going to be your real last day. Yeah, not that fake one that we faked you all out with last week. No. George, give him a rundown. Who are you? Tell him.
I'm George Takei, and when I'm walking down the street, people shout out, "Hey, Sulu!" So I'm known more as Sulu than as George Takei, which is what I really am.
Right, and you're best known, of course, for the Star Trek work you do. Yeah?
I've done Star Trek, the series, and the movie series up to the 6th one.
Right, which, of course, is, as always, my favorite.
Yes.
Yeah. So there you go. There's our panel of guest/co-host/ whatever else you want to call them. And Jenny has given the thumbs up for we are go for launch for our first story of the day on the Big Friday show. And of course, what would that be? Would that be something to do with Obama? Would it be Facebook? Would it be, Twitter? No. No, it's about a beheaded baby. Yeah, because, we got to get into the beheaded babies. But before we get into the beheaded babies, here's a segue, Gilbert. Gilbert's going to sing his little song before we get into beheaded babies. There you go.
Na, 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 na. Ba, ma, 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 ma. Oh, yeah. Who wants to grow up? Who wants responsibility? Oh, no, not me. Who wants to show up and work until you're 93? Now everybody says you're running wild. The teacher's calling you a problem. Ooh.
Thank you.
Yes.
I don't have enough sound bites here, Jenny. You got to get me some clapping because, that was pretty incredible. Yeah.
I'm the most talented guy in this room.
Oh, I know. Yes, so now let's get on to beheading babies, shall we? In Cincinnati, what is that, like Illuminati? What was
Yes.
Cincinnati, yes. No, Cincinnati. Social workers checked on Jania Watkins at least 10 times and warned relatives to keep her mother away in the weeks before the child was found decapitated last Monday. Records requested by the Cincinnati Enquirer newspaper show that social workers with Hamilton County's Job and Family Services recognized the potential danger Jania's mother posed to the 3-month-old girl and made at least cursory checks on the child every week since the end of January. But police and prosecutors say those efforts could not stop the girl's mother, Daisa Watkins, from finding the girl in an aunt's house in College Hill and beheading her on a kitchen countertop sometime late Sunday or early Monday. Kitchen countertop. I wonder if that was Coruscant. Yeah. Oh, those damn terrorists. Yeah. Jania has been placed with the aunt, whose name has not been released because Watkins was suffering from serious mental illness, and the father, James Brown. Yeah. Do it to me. James Brown had not formally established paternity and did not have custody rights. Prosecutors say that the aunt was warned that the mother should not be alone with the child. The aunt was given specific instructions that neither mother or father could have contact with the baby at the time or reside in the home, said Julie Wilson, spokeswoman for the Hamilton County prosecutor Joe Dieters. Social workers became involved in the case after January 25th when Watkins was hospitalized following an incident in her home in which police found her screaming and Janaea crying loudly. According to court records, Watkins initially refused to hand over the baby, and after she did, passed out with her eyes open. It's kind of like listening to Gilbert sing is what I do that. Just kind of pass out with the old eyes open. That's what I do. Yeah. Well, Jania was first placed with Brown after that January 25th incident, and Watkins was permitted to move back in with them when she got out of the hospital. She was not, however, allowed to be alone with the child and was told that she could stay in the home only if she took her medication. Yes, and I'm betting the medication probably isn't used here. Yeah. Well, records show that social workers checked on Jania at least 7 times while the child was in Brown's care, usually at Brown's house for as much as 2 hours, and sometimes as little as 10 minutes. After each visit, social workers determined Jania appeared to be healthy and in good condition. The child was removed from Brown's home after March 6th court hearing when a judge determined that Watkins had stopped taking her medication and had been seen breastfeeding Jania, even though she'd been told not to because of the medication she was supposed to be taking. At that point, records showed Jania was sent to live with her aunt in College Hill. Records show social workers saw Jania the day of that March 6th hearing and at least 2 other times after Jania went to live with her aunt. Those two meetings occurred last Thursday at the aunt's home and last Friday at the downtown offices of Job and Family Services. Dieters said Tuesday that social workers were not aware Watkins had moved into the aunt's house until Monday morning, when police responded to a 911 call and found Jania dead in the kitchen. Watkins, 20 years old, was found in bed, covered in blood. Prosecutors have said it's unlikely they will seek the death penalty because of the severity. It's unlikely they will seek the death penalty because of the severity of Watkins' mental illness. She is charged with aggravated murder and is in the hospital under guard. Dieters said Watkins has not spoken to investigators. She said it's unlikely the aunt would be charged in the case, but that decision won't be made until, of course, the ultimate investigation is indeed complete. So there you go. That's
you being Catholic, you realize that you can have birth control. You realize that?
Yes. But again, this was not mine.
Yes.
No, it was not mine.
I lived in Greenwich Village for a while when I first started out as an actor.
Really? Did you? I did not know that. You haven't told us that 234 times this year. No.
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut. Always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together.
Mm-hmm.
That's American. Look how they took the country away from England.
Well, thank you for that, Louis. That's incredible. Thank you. Well, moving on today, because I'm not going to sit around sticking on, babies' heads and things. I'm not going to do that. We'll move on to the next big, oh so big, this should have topped the headless baby, but it didn't. The big story of the day, of course, which is Facebook turning in suspects in murder cases. Yeah, there you go. In Indianapolis, detectives investigating a homicide used Facebook to catch a suspect in a lie and eventually crack the case, court records show. Julius A. Gordon, 19, and Haley E. McKibben, 18, faced felony charges in connection with the shooting death of John Kinsey, Jr., according to a probate clause affidavit filed Wednesday. The 23-year-old Indianapolis man was found shot to death in a car Saturday morning on the city's west side. A revolver was on his lap, and the driver's side window was shattered. McCribbin and Gordon conspired to rob Kinsey of marijuana and Xanax, the probate case affidavit alleges. Gordon asked McKibben to, quote, set up Kinsey, the affidavit says. McCribbin smoked with Kinsey in his car and text messaged Gordon to let him know where the car was parked and that the drugs Kinsey had on him, the affidavit says. She text messaged Gordon to warn him Kinsey was armed. The document alleges Gordon tried to rob Kinsey, but the men exchanged gunshots. Kinsey was killed, and Gordon was hit in the arm, police said. At first, McKibben, yes, it's a little bit of the McKibben. Hey. Sorry. McKibben appeared to be an innocent bystander, the document said. She told police she was in the car with Kinsey when someone tried to rob him, causing the shootout. Detectives had identified Gordon as a possible suspect when he sought treatment for a gunshot wound at Eskenazi Hospital. Detectives later showed McKibben a photo array of suspects that included Gordon and asked if she recognized the shooter. McKibben replied that she did not recognize anyone in the lineup, but detectives scoured her Facebook page and saw that she is friends with Gordon on the social networking site. They asked her again, and she admitted that she knows Gordon, documents say. Police then searched the text history on her phone and found text exchanges that planned the robbery. Gordon is charged with 2 counts of murder, 2 counts of robbery, and 1 count of being a felon in possession of a handgun. And McKibben is charged with 1 count of robbery and 1 count of being absolutely, unequivocally too stupid to freaking live. There you go. You're gonna do it all on social media because why? That's just the thing you do these days, I guess, right? When you're planning all your criminal activities, just let's put that up on the old Facebook. Yeah. Well, there it is. I don't know, man. You got to wonder. You really got to wonder about people. Who in their right mind is going to actually commit any kind of a crime, any kind, not even serious ones like robbery and murder and things, you know? Why are you going to do that? And then like, does everybody not know that we're all tracked? Does anybody not know this? Like, I'm quite sure, Gilbert, that when we were in the alley in Chicago there, that they absolutely knew where we were.
And I remember, too.
No, don't go into it. Don't go into it, okay? We'll just leave it there. But that's what I'm saying, I don't know why people think that, we've got all this technology, we've got all social media, and we're all on computers, and we're on our phones, and we're on 24/7, ladies and gentlemen, with all these devices that track not only where we are geophysically, but also what our spending habits are, what we buy, where we like to go, what we like to do, what are we clicking on when we see that new film premiere coming out? That's important. Let's go see that one. Yeah, I like that one. It's not just a bunch of people out there collecting data so they can sell you stuff. They're cops too. Yeah. How hard is it to look you up on the old FB?
Yes. I'd like to have that as my slogan in life.
Yeah. How hard is it to look up the old Gilbert on FB? Yeah. Well, we're going to go for our first commercial break of the afternoon today on Coffee and Cigarettes. And when we come back, we're going to tell you about the oldest American woman, veteran, yes, who has died at the amazing age of 108 years old. Damn, we'll be back in 2.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
What if there was a coffee that was sourced from some of the world's most renowned growing regions, abundant with rich, fertile soil? What if this coffee was picked at the perfect moment, then packed meticulously and shipped carefully to be roasted under the watchful eye of coffee masters? What if it was expertly blended, ground, and sealed, ensuring maximum flavor and freshness, then brewed in small batches and always served fresh within 20 minutes, just the way you like it? Now, what if this coffee just happened to be the coffee you already know and love? Tim Hortons, always fresh, always great tasting coffee.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonnieville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, wow, that's a lot of places. I said, hang on, there's more. I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, Nunavut. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
When we arrived at our hotel in New York, the porter was so incredibly careless with our bags. And the room they gave us, it was beautiful. A broom closet. But the worst part was the shower. My wife drying herself with the Egyptian cotton towels. Shower curtain defined that whole vacation for her. Don't just visit New York. Visit TripAdvisor New York.
With millions of reviews, a visit to TripAdvisor makes any destination better.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slick back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl fade and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out of style. We never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor. We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
You would have loved the guy. Never drank, never smoked, did drugs, nothing. He had only one obsession, and that was the women.
Yeah. He just pitied the fool, and yeah.
If you think that you were clever with women, he wouldn't stand a candle with this guy.
No.
Or Muhammad Ali was another one with women. I did 2 films with him.
Yeah.
Tell us all about it later, buddy. Yeah. Well, good afternoon and welcome back to the big show, Coffee and Cigarettes, HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk. I'd like to give a shout out to Mr. A. Paco Lees in the chat at Spreaker.com right now. He's here. He's checking things out, looking around, wondering why the hell he keeps ending up here. There's nothing on this bloody place. I got to just go to this crappy show.
Yes.
Well, there you go. There you go. Much better. Thanks for coming back. Still 33 degrees in Central Park right now and snowing like a mother. It's, happy spring day here for sure. Yeah. No. No, it's not. And, of course, joining us on the panel, of course, the one, the only, Louis Lawless.
Can you give me any help for $25,000?
Right, and no. Gilbert Gottfried, of course.
Break for a commercial.
Yeah, no. And the one, the only George Takei. George, you're just so excellent to come back for these last 3 days, and I'm just filled with gratitude. Gotta say, thank you. Yeah,
maybe it's that love-hate.
I think, yeah. Well, no, maybe you hate it. I love it, but yeah, I don't know. Whatever. I'm gonna move on. That's what I'll do. I'll move the hell on now. Yeah.
It's about fucking time. Move on.
Oh, Louis, you and the F word. Well, moving on today, the oldest American woman veteran dies at 108 years old. The country's oldest woman veteran has died at her home in Texas at the age of 108. Lucy Coffey, an Indiana native who serves throughout the Pacific, was found dead in her bed Thursday morning after being ill for about a week and suffering from a chronic cough. This from Keita Marquez, a friend and Bexar County, Texas veteran service officer who told ABC News. The Bexar County Veteran Service Office announced Coffey's death on Thursday. Quote, "She was an incredible lady who will be missed dearly," the organization said in a statement. "Her contributions to our country and community will not be forgotten. She was truly a pioneer and full of life and spunk," Marquez told the San Antonio Express News. Coffey visited the White House last year, meeting President Obama and Vice President Biden. Coffey was one of 400,000 American women who served during World War II, according to the White House. She was 37 and working at a Dallas grocery store when the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor and quit to enlist in the Women's Auxiliary Army Corps. She rose to the rank of sergeant, earning 2 Bronze Stars during her service and the Philippine Liberation Ribbon during the Battle of Luzon. After her discharge in 1945, Coffey continued to work as an Army civilian in Okinawa, Japan for 13 years before returning to Texas. She worked in the procurement office at Kelly Air Force Base in San Antonio until her retirement in 1971. Funeral arrangements are pending. And you know, you gotta love that. And it's so great, you know, when they say things like... Actually, it's so much BS when they say things like, her sacrifices will not be forgotten. Kind of seems to me that if they're not going to be forgotten, we'd have to teach them to our kids, you know? You know? Just a kind of a, you know, just a thought there, you know. Yeah, I still can't believe this country does not teach that. It just boggles my mind. It just really does. It really does. But, you know, like they say with, well, limited education comes limited minds, and I don't think, I'm going to go out on a limb here, but I don't think that Yemen is up there in the school education worldwide. Yeah. And, of course, what does that breed? Well, scores dead in blasts at shite mosques in Yemen. Yes. No. Okay. It's not shite. It's Shiite. But yeah, to me, it all looks like shite. Yeah. Suicide bombers killed more than 100 worshippers in 2 Shiite mosques in Yemen's capital Friday, one of the deadliest attacks in the war-torn nation's history. The bombings could trigger new sectarian violence in a mostly Sunni nation that is under assault from Shiite rebels known as Houthis. A bunch of Houthis, yeah. Damn Houthis. The Houthi rebels said that 137 were killed and another 345 were injured when 4 suicide bombers attacked the Badr and Al-Hashush mosques in Sana'a. This comes to us from the Associated Press. The 2 mosques were attacked during Friday midday prayers, the busiest time of the week. While they're both controlled by the rebels, Sunni worshippers also attend services there. Yeah, that's good. Let's mix it up. Yeah. Let's get the Westboro Baptist Church into the Roman Catholic Church there. See how that goes. Yeah. Yeah, we'll just mix it up. It's all good. Well, a group claiming to represent the Yemeni branch of the Islamic State, of course, said on Twitter today that they're composed of Sunni extremists. They claimed responsibility for the attack, describing it as a, quote, blessed operation against the den of the Shiites. In an online tweet, the Associated Press reported. The claim could not be independently verified, however, as the suicide bombers are a fine red mist on the wall. Yeah. Well, if true, the bombing would mark the first major attack by the Islamic State supporters in Yemen. The Houthis, backed by Iran's Shiite government, took over the capital in September and forced the nation's president to flee last month. The rebels now control at least 9 of Yemen's 21 provinces. They've also seized parts of the U.S.-backed government, threatening a key American anti-terrorism partner in the region. The nation is home to powerful branches of al-Qaeda, a Sunni group that is the sworn enemy of the Houthis. A witness at the Al-Harushish mosque let me get this right. I've got the Al-Hashush. Yeah. Okay. No, it's not funny. That's their religion, damn you. Well, the Al-Hashush Mosque said he was thrown 7 feet away by the explosion. What, did you get out your little tape measure? How the hell does any of them know what the hell 7 feet is? Anyway, the heads, legs, and arms of the dead people were scattered on the floor of the mosque. Well, where else would they be? I mean, okay. Hospitals urged residents to donate blood and arms and legs if they could to help deal with the large number of wounded. The suicide bombing has come amid ongoing violence in the country. You don't say. Huh? I did not know that. The international airport in the southern Yemeni port city of Aden was forced to close Thursday when forces loyal to Yemen's former president, Ali Abdullah Saleh, waged a gun battle with security forces loyal to the current president, Abed Rabo Mansour Hadi. That incident left 13 more people dead. Come on down. Let's have a dead off. We'll see who we can kill the most. Reuters reported warplanes again attacked Aden on Friday, targeting the presidential palace for the second day in a row. Hadi fled to Aden last month after being put under house arrest by the Houthis and remains the country's internationally recognized president. Diplomats from the United States and several European nations fled Yemen in February amid embassy closures resulting from deteriorating security conditions. Well, what a bunch of pussies. Everything's fine there. What the hell?
Bullshitters, never keep your mouth shut, always hustling, always looking for something to do and putting things together. That's American. Look how they took the country away from England.
Again, Louis, it's all about England, isn't it? Damn it. Yeah. Well, moving on, we've got more news close to home here, actually right down to this show, this program, Coffee and Cigarettes. Yes, the ATF director has announced his resignation, and yes, it's all thanks to us. There we go. Washington, less than 2 years after a contentious Senate confirmation vote, Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives Director B. Todd Jones announced his resignation today. Jones, who in 2013 became the first permanent director of the agency in 7 years, is now set to leave the 5,000-member agency March 31st. Prior to his confirmation, the former U.S. attorney in Minneapolis had been serving as interim director since 2011, taking over an agency that had been rocked by a botched gun trafficking investigation that allowed hundreds of firearms to fall into the hands of Mexican drug cartel enforcers. Payoff. The ATF employees are hardworking, dedicated individuals who serve the public to make our nation safer every day, unless there's a payoff. Jones said in a statement, "I will truly miss leading and working side by side with these men and women in their pursuit of ATF's unique law enforcement and regulatory mission of taking payoffs." There we go. Now, the ATF is a federal government's chief gun enforcement agency whose authority also extends to investigations involving explosives and criminal gangs. ATF Deputy Director Thomas E. Brandon will serve as acting director following Jones's departure. Though throughout his tenure, Todd Jones has cemented his reputation as an exemplary leader, a consummate professional, and an outstanding public servant. This comes from Attorney General Eric Holder, who also does not take payoffs. He doesn't. It's true. He's not about the payoff dealio at all. You can't neener. You can't get him. He's not doing that either.
Yes.
No. Well, moving on to the man who should be playing golf but keeps turning around and saying really, really stupid stuff. Yes, you know who I speak, don't you? Good old President Obama.
Use power. That's why power is corrupt, and it is. We see it every day. We see it in every job. It's the same thing.
Well,
You being Catholic, you realize that you can have birth control. You realize that?
Yes.
I'd like to have that as my slogan in life.
Oh, well, let's see. What the hell did Obama do today? Well, he's calling on Iran. Get this, ladies, gentlemen, and everybody. He's calling on Iran to release U.S. hostages. There we go. Let's see. When was the first one taken? 1981, I think?
Yes.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Yeah. Well, we got those out, and then, of course, there's more because it's just the cost of doing business. You gotta have new hostages every day.
Yes.
You just have to. Well, President Obama called on Iran today to release U.S. citizens believed to be in Tehran's custody. In a statement tied to the Iranian holiday of... I'm going to say... Nowruz? Nowruz, yes. The Iranian holiday of Nowruz, which was currently celebrated in New York high schools. I'll give you that story in a minute. Obama said that at this time of renewal, compassion, and understanding, I reiterate my commitment to bringing our citizens home. Yes. Yes. 3 U.S. citizens. Oh, yeah, they sound real U.S. Saeed Abedini, Amir Hakmati, and Jason Razian.
Yes.
Oh, wow, really? Yeah. Where's the Johnsons, the Wilsons, the Bob and Doug McKenzie, for God's sake? Where? Well, they're believed to be in prison. A fourth, Robert Levinson. Okay, there's an American name. There's a good one we can stick onto there. Well, they're missing and was last seen, of course, in Iran. The statement comes amid high-stakes negotiations, of course, over Iran's non-existent, of course, nuclear program. And, no, it's not us. We're not bad. We're happy, loving people. We love you, United States. The United States and allies are offering to reduce economic sanctions if Iran and its government gives up the means to make nuclear weapons. The spirit of family is deeply woven into all of the rich cultural traditions of the Nowruz holiday, Obama said in his statement. And it makes me wonder, how is he so keyed into all these Muslim religious holidays? How does he know so much?
Yes.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. It's a time for reuniting and rejoicing with loved ones and sharing hopes for the new year, he said. Obama offered descriptions of the 4 missing Americans. Here we go. This is good. Saeed Albedini of Boise, Idaho. Yeah. Yes, it just reminds me when I was a kid, I used to eat those good old Abedini potatoes. Yeah. Oh. Nothing said mom's home cooking in USA like Abedini potatoes. Yeah. Well, Saeed Abedini of Boise, Idaho, has spent 2.5 years detained in Iran on charges related to his religious beliefs. He must be returned to his wife and 2 young children, who needlessly continue to grow up without their father. Yes, and of course, who can forget Amir Hekmati of Flint, Michigan? Yeah. Yes, it takes me back, in 1979. Yes, working on the old Ford assembly line in Flint, Michigan, and working side by side with good old Amir Hekmati. Yeah. Oh, those were the days. We used to have Hekmati and his family over to our house for a barbecue after a long work week, and used to beat the kids with sticks. And sometimes if we caught our wives cheating on us, we'd stone them. And it was a whole, the whole neighborhood participated back in those purely American traditions. Yeah. Well, Ekmir Hemati of Flint, Michigan, has been imprisoned in Iran for false espionage. Oh, I guess he's trying to pretend he's an American. Yeah. Yes. Charges over 3.5 years. His family, including his father, who is gravely ill from picking all those potatoes, has borne the pain of Amir's absence for far too long. Oh, and pardon me, Hekmati's father there is ill and gravely ill from all the work he did on the factories in Flint, Michigan, of course. Yeah. Jason Rezianen of Marin County, California, an Iranian government-credentialed reporter for the Washington Post, has been unjustly held in Iran for nearly 8 months on vague charges. Apparently, one official was saying in Iran, "Well, he says he is American, but he looks like us." Well, he's been unjustly held in Iran for nearly 8 months on those vague charges. It is especially painful that on a holiday centered on ridding oneself of difficulties the past year, i.e., I guess that would be the terrorist bombers, yeah. My brethren, we must rid ourselves of all this BS from the last year. Yes. It's especially painful that on that holiday centered around ridding oneself of difficulties the past year, Jason's mother and family will continue to carry the heavy burden of concern regarding Jason's health and well-being into the new year. And finally, the president wrote, "We recently marked yet another anniversary since Robert Levinson went missing on Kish Island. His family has now endured the hardship of his disappearance for over 8 years. And I figured I'd better say something before my presidency ends." Yeah. So no golf for me until we actually get there. So we're going to go for our last commercial break here. And when we come back, we're going to tell you about a group who's launching a campaign to draft. Yes, bringing back the draft, but not to go to war. No, to bring Joe Biden as a presidential candidate for 2016. We'll be back in 2.
You've got it locked to New York's best talk, HTLA Radio 1.
Man, I've been to a lot of places over these past 50 years. Seen the whole true north strong and free. 'Cause I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere. I've been to Cooksville, Stouffville, Bainesville, Bowmanville, Bonneville, Unionville, Oakville, Dunville, Brockville, Boucherville, Melville, Drummondville, Kentville, Grenville, Morinville, Maryville, Parksville, Stephenville, Sackville, Spring Hill, Westville, Walkerville, hanging on a windowsill. Hey! He said, "Wow, that's a lot of places." I said, "Hang on, there's more." I've been to Moncton, Picton, Shannon, Vernon, Stellarton, Hamilton, Nipigon, Nobleton, Yorkton, Brighton, Bolton, Beaverton, Brandon, Edmonton, Walkerton, Wyerton, Granby, Miramichi, Charlottetown, Burnaby, Yellowknife, Whitehorse, Corner Brook, Nunavut. I've been everywhere, man. I've been everywhere, man. I crossed the prairies bare, man. I breathed the mountain air. I've traveled, I've done my share, man. I've been everywhere, man. Check it out. Ottawa, Wawa, Mattawa, Chippewa, Moose Jaw, Oshawa.
It could be 7 in the morning.
Or 10 at night.
In Chilliwack, BC. Or St. Peters, Nova Scotia. It could be Michelle.
Or Mark.
Or Jen.
But whenever.
Wherever you order that cup of Tim Hortons Premium Blend Coffee, you know that it's always fresh.
From Newfoundland and Labrador to Vancouver Island, Tim Hortons, a coffee all our own.
You walked into the hotel as a 5. But when she saw the room, you turned into a weird 7. When she saw the rooftop pool, you went to 11. You two should probably get a room. Oh, that's right. You already did. At Planet Earth's #1 accommodation site, Booking.com. Booking.yeah.
Some said the U.S. has lost its innovative power. We said America is lighting the way as the innovation nation. Singular insights, superior execution. That's the power of global connections. Bank of America Merrill Lynch. Voted top global research firm 2011, 12, and 13.
I've been so inspired by being in New York because everything from what people are wearing on the street to the way they're interacting with each other, to drive through the West Village at night and you see a couple kissing on the street, or you see someone fighting outside their apartment, or you see so much humanity on a daily basis that even if you're not inspired by your own life that day, you can be inspired by someone else's life.
You got that long hair, slick back, white t-shirt, and I got that good girl face and a tight little skirt. And when we go crashing down, we come back every time, 'cause we never go out, we never style, we never go out of style. Take me out.
There's only one place to get more Taylor.
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.
Did you ever see the Charlie's Angels episode with Sammy Davis Jr.?
Why do you keep asking me about things from like 50 years ago?
Yes.
I don't know.
I remember growing up, it seemed like Juliet Prowse was on TV every day.
That's true. That's true. Yeah, I would guess. You know, I'd have to ask my mom. You know. Well, welcome back to the big show today. HTLA Radio 1, New York's best talk. Your coffee and cigarettes right here. 3:48 in the PM right now, and we're 33 degrees in Central Park and getting pounded by the snow. Now there's like, I'm serious, it's like 8 inches now. It's like 3 inches have accumulated in the last 30 minutes. It's just nutty.
Yes.
But what are we going to do? We don't get to do anything. No, we just get to sit there and suck it. Yeah. I know, George. I know. You like that. It's okay.
You are a douchebag.
Yes.
Well, I might be a douchebag, sir, but you're a really nice guy who keeps coming back and doing my show.
Yes.
So I thank you, and I love you, and can I suck up any more? Yeah. Well, moving on in the big stories, I'm going to tell you about the group that's launching a campaign to draft Joe Biden into the 2016 race, whether he likes it or not. Piss on everybody. Yeah. Yeah, forget those groups that are all ready for Hillary Rodham Clinton and Elizabeth Warren. What about Joe Biden in 2016, huh? The Draft Joe Biden movement kicked off earlier this week with the goal of encouraging the vice president to jump into the presidential race, something Biden indeed has on his mind. The group hopes to have campaigns running in Iowa, New Hampshire, and South Carolina by the end of the year. Now, there's talk now about how weak the Democratic bench is supposed to be in 2016. We don't have a weak bench, says Will Pierce, organizing director of the Draft Joe Biden movement. Just take a look at the polls. Voters are tired of dynasties in American politics and certainly want an election instead of a coronation. The House of Bush and the House of Clinton have had their run, he says. A petition urging Biden to make the new race posted on the group's website, Run Biden Run. RunBidenRun.com has garnered about 4,000 signatures so far. As one of the calming forces and charming presences in the White House, you have been front and center in playing a significant role in many of the important successful political events of the past few years, states the letter. One example cited Biden's negotiations with Senate GOP leader Mitch McConnell in 2013 on a deal that helped Congress from going over the fiscal cliff. Early polls show Hillary Rodham Clinton with a wide lead. What is this Hillary Rodham Clinton crap? What? No. No, I mean Hillary Rodham Clinton, like every news story about her in the last, I would say, 6 months, it's always been Hillary Rodham Clinton. Hillary Rodham Clinton. It's never been, like it always used to be, just Hillary Clinton.
Yes.
You know? It's what is up with that? What's with the Rodham thing? Or is that supposed to, like, make you think of Dennis Rodman and make it a swing vote? I don't know what the hell. I don't know what that Rodham thing is. But anyways, moving back to the actual freaking story, thank you. With a wide lead, that Hillary Rodham Clinton over fellow Democrats for her party's 2016 presidential nomination, with Biden coming in at a distant second, still the vice president told ABC News last month that he believes the race is, quote, wide open on both sides. He has said he'll decide by the end of summer whether or not to run in 2016. I don't know. I'd like to say he's white and he's not an unknown like Scott Walker, and he's got a lot of experience, but you're kind of left with that whole thing. Well, it's still that stupid bipartisan system. It's still the morons and the under morons and it's just all morons, and I'm just gonna try and disassociate my entire existence with the presidential campaign. Period. There we go. Well, moving on, Darren Sharper charged with rape in Las Vegas. Yes, NFL great. Rape charges filed in Las Vegas against Darren Sharper showed Friday night. Police and prosecutors are focusing on a pattern of drug and attack cases against the former NFL safety and TV analyst in Los Angeles, New Orleans, and the Phoenix area. Bill Cosby has come forward and said that Darren has raped him and wants charges pressed. There you go. Moving on to the evolutionary reason why guys like curves. This is about to piss on every transgender out there. A new study finds that there's an evolutionary reason men prefer women with a theoretically optimal angle of lumbar curvative. Another way of putting it, even prehistoric guys probably killed a gal with a curvy backside. Well, researchers at the good old University of Texas at Austin ran a 2-part study published in Evolution and Human Behavior. In the first part, men related the attractiveness of manipulated images of spinal curves, most best like the 45.5-degree curve from back to buttocks. In the second part, men were shown pictures of women with different buttock sizes, and they still mostly preferred the ones whose spinal curvature was closest to the ideal, meaning it's the lumbar curvature that they like, not just big butts. Well, researchers say in a press release that men may be directing their attention to the butt and obtaining information about a woman's spine, even if they're unaware that that's what their minds are doing. The lead researcher explains, per the Medical Daily. See, that's why all the women tell us what to do. They've got the perfect spines. Yeah. As for the evolutionary reason for the preference, researchers attribute it to prehistoric influences, back when we used to like to gang rape velociraptors. Sure glad we don't do that anymore. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, the spinal structure would have enabled pregnant women to balance their weight over the hips properly. These women would have been more effective at foraging during pregnancy and less likely to suffer spinal injuries. In turn, men who preferred these women would have had mates who were better able to provide for fetus and offspring, and who would have been able to carry out multiple pregnancies without injuries. Researchers note that this preference has evolved over the thousands of years. This adds to a growing body of evidence that the beauty is not entirely arbitrary or in the eyes of the beholder, says the co-author, but rather is a coherent adaptive logic. So there you go, fat women out there. Get your stuff together or forever be damned out of the gene pool. There you go. And finally today on the old coffee and cigarettes, a story right downtown Manhattan here. The New York taxi industry is to propose a cap on Uber. Yeah. The New York City's taxi industry is gearing up to propose a cap on so-called black cars as the number of Uber cars outpaces yellow taxis for the first time. The proposed cap, which is still being drafted, seeks to halt the growth of livery. There you go. The livery cabs, also known as black cars, until city officials can study the impact their growth is having on traffic, parking, and pollution, said Tweeps Phillips. Really, Tweeps? Okay. Tweeps Phillips, the executive director of Committee for Taxi Safety and Industry Group. Well, here's a little wake-up call for you, Tweeps. Here you go. Before you start blackballing those beautiful black Lincolns with the leather interior that drive, well, all us folks around everywhere, maybe take a look at the state of those vomit-filled yellow cabs.
Yes.
I'm just thinking, maybe here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to call up the health department and get them to go look at the cabs and get them to ban all the yellow cabs. How be that, boys? Well, the cap comes on the heels of new data showing that the number of Uber cars in New York City has outpaced yellow taxis for the first time. There are 14,088 cars, including luxury SUVs, affiliated with Uber in the city's 5 boroughs, compared with just 13,587 disgusting yellow cabs. According to the Taxi Limousine Commission. Quote, it's remarkable that this one company is able to put vehicles on the road willy-nilly without anyone saying what this means for traffic conditions or parking or the environment, Tweep says. Well, how about those bio-containment suits you got to wear to get in your cab? Holy shite. Well, the facts clearly show that Uber is changing New York City's transportation ecosystem for the better, says Matthew Wing, Uber's head of communications for the northeastern states. Wing pointed out Uber's drivers focus on the outer boroughs where taxis don't go, as well as Uber Pool, which encourages carpooling. It's not as surprising that the taxi industry would try to stop this progress in any effort to offer more drivers and better earning opportunities, Wing said. Uber, which matches riders with drivers through a mobile app, is accustomed to taxis around the globe, seeking to stymie its growth, but the call to measure the impact of growth such as car services may be having on cities and their residents could resonate among a wider swath of people, including environmentalists, and potentially spread to other cities. I would absolutely support a moratorium until this could be studied, says Samuel Schwartz, a transportation engineer and advocate of controlling traffic through tolls. The specter of gridlock looms if we continue these trends, he said, who is also known as Gridlock Sam, by the way. Gridlock Sam. Yeah. Well, the bottom line here is more research is needed on this, says Susan Shaheen, a transportation expert with the University of California, Berkeley, who doesn't have to deal with our effing gridlock. There you go. And Shaheen's study found that ride-hailing companies like Uber and Lyft carried slightly more passengers per ride than traditional taxis, but such services also had no visible reduction on private car ownership. Since its launch back in 2009, Uber has expanded to 55 countries, including 160,000 drivers in the United States. Earlier this month, Uber vowed to create 1 million jobs for women drivers. Oh, my God. By 2020. See, they had me until that. Yeah. Suggesting that it has no plans to slow its breakneck pace. The number of yellow cabs in New York City, by contrast, are severely capped thanks to legislation passed by Mayor Fiorello LaGuardia in 1937. And since that time, the city has increased the number of medallion cabs by a mere 1,800. Of course, yellow cabs still dominate when it comes to a number of rides and time on the road. The TLC said there were about 440,000 yellow cab rides a day compared to between 20 and 30,000 Uber rides. Well, what the hell are you whining about? Oh, that's no fair. They can't bring nice, sexy luxury cars and then like take all our stuff and then we're still outdoing them 5-1. Well, there you go. That is it for me on this Friday Frappuccino, Coffee and Cigarettes, HTLA Radio 1, New York's Best Talk. For Friday the 20th of March 2015, 32 degrees now in New York and snowing like a bugger. Thanks a lot. Happy spring. Yeah. Well, thank you, the one and only Louis Lawless, for coming by today. We appreciate it.
You know why, Chris? Because you're such a control freak, you don't want anyone to tell you what to do.
Really? Is that? Yeah? You think so, huh?
No. No, I don't.
Well, there you go, if that made any sense. Gilbert George. Yes. Thank you for coming by today.
Break for a commercial.
Yeah. And the one, the only George Takei, thank you, sir, for being here.
I've enjoyed it thoroughly. It has been a fantastic experience.
Well, good. You're welcome back anytime. Including next week when I die of some other ailment. Yeah. Well, that's all for us today. From Jenny in the booth and me and everybody at HTLA, have a great weekend, and we will catch you on Monday for the Monday Mocha, 3 p.m. Eastern, as always. And, yeah, it's going to be good.
Oh, you owe it to yourself.
Absolutely.
Yes.
All right, gang. That's it. Have a great week. And...
We're New York's best talk radio, HTLA Radio 1.